Hello, this week we're going to be making the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man and whatever is in his mouth right there. Okay, so let's get started. This shouldn't be too long. If you want to use the high resolution torus and sphere, that's fine. It's just going to be kind of difficult to do this part right here and do that because I think Tinkercad will crash. So let's get started with the feet. We're going to work our way up. And then at the very end, possibly on a second video, we'll do the clothing. So let's go ahead and get started with the feet, which is just a half sphere. Let's give you the shape. I'm always going to start with the height. And here, the height is going to be 8 millimeters. Enter the width, which I consider the one that goes across the screen or across what you're looking at, 16.5. And then the depth is going to be 23. So there you go. You have started making a snowman. Just kidding. It's the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Even though I didn't write the words there, you know who it is. You know who it is. All right, so let's bring in the next shape from the shapes library. It's going to be the torus. That's this one. And we're going to maximize the sides. Steps are already maximized. Good. Here are the dimensions. I made this into 10. And then 18 for the width. And 18 for the depth. There you go. Let's change it to white. And we're almost done. Look at that. Now, where you place this thing on here makes it really stand out. So let's say that's okay there. I'm going to move it up. 3.5. Sure, for now. I can always change it later, so don't worry about that. It doesn't have to look this way. So, just like now, right now, this looks like it's different than this, even though technically they're the same width. So weird. Let's check the height. Yeah, it looks the same, but something looks different. I don't know. Maybe it'll look better when we put the next one on. All right, so I'm just going to bring in another one. There it is. Again, maximize the steps. And for this one, we're going to make the height 9, and then the width is going to be 21, it's a little bit bigger, and 21 as well. Okay, we did already. Yeah, okay. And then we're going to rotate this one 22.5. Now pay attention because I started here. I'm not sure if you noticed I rotated it, but I right-clicked and moved it because if you look at it from this angle, you have 1, 2 ways to rotate it. The one I want is over here, or appears over there. I want to go, now if I stay inside this blue circle, there's another circle, but then this one has lines in it. If I go inside, I will rotate 22.5, and that's exactly what I want for this one, 22.5. If I go out here, I have to go one at a time. I want to go under here, right there. So that's why I rotated it. Now, I'm going to rotate this going this direction, facing the front. I'm going to rotate it again, 22.5. So there. Now change it to white. And then I'm going to move this above here. There. Okay. We're good, and I think this is a little bit taller. Yeah, that feels better. Maybe a little bit to there, right there. I'm just adjusting it to make it look like this. Again, you can adjust it however you want, maybe a little bit further back. Okay, so I'm going to select everything by clicking and dragging. I'm going to duplicate by hitting Control D. You could press that button there. And then I'm going to click the letter M, which gives you control over the mirror. I'm going to change the angle by right-clicking and then choosing the one that's going from left to right. I'm going to hold the Shift button down and then move this over. And just have it separated by just a little bit. Okay, so now you've done the legs. Let's go ahead and work on the belly, which is going to start with a sphere. I'm going to maximize the steps. And the height and everything else actually is going to be the same exact size. Let's start with 37. There we go. Now this part you need to pay attention because if you don't pay attention to this part, it's going to be wrong. Usually when you opened Tinkercad for the first time, it starts with a snap grid at 1. Okay. This needs to be changed to 0.1. Now again, pay attention, or otherwise you're going to get this part wrong, and you're going to be like my student Frank that didn't listen to me at all when I told him to do this last time and failed over and over again. I had to go over there and show him in person. So sad. And while we're at it, this video is going out to Brenda, who doesn't think I make any of my own videos. Apparently I'm paying someone to do this for me. Brenda, this one goes out to you. So here we go. I'm going to duplicate this, Control D. Now I'm going to hold the Shift button down and click on that white square, and it's going to go to 36.8, slight movements. Now I'm going to hold the Command button and the up arrow. I'm going to do that 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mind you, I haven't clicked away from anything. That's very important, Frank. You didn't click away from anything, right? Now I'm going to hit Command D or Control D on your computer, or you can just press this button over and over again. So I'm going to do that to get this very odd shape. Are you counting these? Because I'm not. I'm just keep on hitting it. I'm trying to go for the avocado look. That looks like an avocado. And if I have to later on, I can shrink it. But this one doesn't look too bad. A few more. Okay, now I'm going to group this. Now, mind you, that's a lot of information here for Tinkercad to handle. So when I hit Control G, or this button right there, you see the little red line, which tells you, hey, Tinkercad is thinking about it. We're processing. I'm going to click here. It's not going to change to white, but it will eventually. So let's go ahead and move this over here, because we can still mess around with it. All right, about there. Now I do want you to notice this part sticking out, so I'm just going to hit click on that, Shift and that one, Shift and that one. Then I'll move with the arrow key just a little bit over there and a little bit more. Okay, this one, and then move this one. Oops, just move these 3. I'm going to move it over there. I want the inner thigh to be touching each other. So, okay. Now, very important when you're seeing this. If I were to print this, I have a feeling this would fall back. So let's. This is already selected, and then this and this. I'm selecting these, and I'm going to try to put it closer to the center. I'm going to hit Shift and then move these back. There, it looks a little bit like it has more support. And this part right here, don't worry about it. I'm going to fix that later. Actually, before we go on, I'm going to move this forward because I want it to be coming out more. I'm just moving it forward right there. Looks a little more chunky. There you go. That's what we want. All right, now we have the belly. Great, amazing belly. So let's go ahead and start working on the arms. Okay, so let's start with the torus. That's this one right here. We're going to maximize the steps. Now for the dimensions, we're going to make this 9.5, 9.5 there. And then 20 is already there. We're just going to make the depth 22. There you go. Now we're going to rotate, not necessarily 90. Let's make this 80. So I'm going to go outside of this blue square. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go 80 there. And then I'm going to move it up. Change it to white. There we go. And I think I moved it 80 the wrong direction. I wanted to go 80, not that way, sorry. So let's go this way, 80 this way. 80 right there. Okay, better. There. All right, is it centered? Not bad, not bad. I'm going to move it just a little bit there. Okay, so now I'm going to rotate this, you see here, from the front, just a few degrees. 10 degrees, and then I'm going to change that to white. Okay, so now we're going to use another, well actually this time a cylinder. So let's go ahead and drag this over here. Now the cylinder, we're always going to maximize the sides. I'm going to bevel this as much as possible. And here I'm going to change that to 6. I could go to 12, but then that would create a lot more of these basic shapes. And you really don't see the difference when you're printing it. You don't see that. So first thing I'm going to do is, well, I already done the first thing. I'm going to change the height to 13. And then the width is going to be 9. And 8 going back. And then 9, 8, yeah, okay. So let's move this up, change it to white. Now, last time I did this, I was like, is it really that small compared to that one? I think I may have stretched it when I rotated it. I don't know. Let's keep on going. So now let's rotate this 90 degrees this way. There. Now, we're going to rotate this again because we want it to be pointing forward. And let's just go 22.5. And I think that's it for, wow, this is small. Why is it so small? Am I doing the small one? Either way, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to duplicate this. That way we don't waste this. I'm going to move it forward because I think I did give you the dimensions for the small one. So we have the small one done. Luckily, the bigger one, the arm, is pretty much the same. So hit the shift and hold the shift button down and then drag this up. We're going to rotate this, or rotate to increase the size to 12. Let's move it right there, 12. Okay. Now this one's just going to move over a little bit. I guess I should just change that, because otherwise it might change other dimensions. Let's go 18. There you go, much better. And then it's sticking out a little bit more than I like, so let's just move it in right around there. Okay, good. Now, luckily, now we have the smaller one already done, although it does need to be rotated a little bit more. There you go, that looks better. And that was 22.5 if you didn't see that. And move it up, so it's the center of that one right there. I'm going to move it forward. Here it's going straight out. I want to move it a little bit forward and then a little bit back, a little bit right there. And just, again, I'm just eyeballing this part right here. Okay, so now we're going to be working with the fingers. Again, we're going to maximize the sides, bevel the max, and change this to 6. There you go. Now the dimensions for this one is going to be 3, 3, and 3. So let's go ahead and do that. 3, 3, and I know now that I'm showing you that there's a shortcut for this, but I'm just going to keep on going here. White. Now this one actually looks like a little tiny marshmallow. So cute. And then I'm going to move this up. This is the thumb. Right there. Now I'm going to duplicate this, Control D. I'm going to rotate this 90. I'm going to hit Shift and the arrow key. Now the fingers are pointing a little bit off, so let's move that over and let's get the fingers pointing in the right direction. Don't want to give them broken fingers. Not yet. Doesn't owe us any money. So I'm going to duplicate that one, and Tinkercad anticipated that this is what you wanted. You don't. I deleted that one. I'm going to hit Control D again. And then here, and then Control D again, and this time it's a lot closer, but I don't want the fingers all facing the same direction, so let's go ahead and rotate, and then move a little bit, and then a little bit out, just moving it so that the fingers don't look all the same. That's not cool. Move this one. I guess I should. There you go. Ooh, scary. Kind of. Okay. I feel like this one should be rotated just a little bit downward. So let me move it downward like that. 5 degrees. All right. I'm going to group this for now. I may have to change it later, but right now, I don't know. I feel like this one should be in more. I didn't choose a finger. The finger was falling out. There, everything's chosen. I want to move this over a little bit closer. And then this one's going to go in a little bit more. Yeah, that's good, because the arms looked a little bit long to me. I'm like, I don't know, that doesn't look natural, because obviously there is a natural looking Marshmallow Man. All right, so I'm going to group that, Control G. Now I'm going to duplicate it with Control D. You can click this up here. I'm going to click Control D for duplicate. Now I'm going to click the letter M, and you can click here for mirroring. M. I want the one that's going to point to the direction I want to go. There you go. Now I'm going to hit Shift and the arrow key to move it exactly to the other side. I'm always afraid of using the mouse to move it over, because I'm afraid it's going to just be off by a little bit. So I'm going to select everything and move it over so that these two aren't touching. I forgot another finger. Oh, I hate this. Don't you hate it when you lose a finger? I know I do. Okay. Oop. Now, duplicate, mirror, and move that thing over. There it is. This time I'm going to hit the Shift button and move this over with the mouse. There. All right, now for the head. Although this one looks like it should. Let me group that right there. Should be, it's not exactly like it is on this side, so let me move it over a little bit. Okay, great. Now, the head obviously is going to be a cylinder. We're going to do the same exact thing for changing the, let me move this over here. Yeah, changing the settings, and this 6, of course. Whoa, that happened last time I recorded this. Maybe I pressed something. I don't know what it is. So I'm going to move this up, and let's change it to white. Okay. Now, the head can be moved up and down later, but right now let's go ahead and change the dimensions of the head. I'm going to make this, the height is going to be 17.5. And then let's change the angle so you can see this better. The width is going to be 22, as well as the depth. Not sure if you noticed, but it shifted a little bit, so it's not exactly centered right now. Let's center it right now. And let's look at it from the side, okay? If this were to print right now, this would fall over forward. So I'm just going to hit the Shift and the arrow key. That's better. I don't want it to fall forward. All right, let's go ahead and start working on the facial features. I'm going to start with the face, or the mouth, the round roof. We're going to rotate that 180 degrees. There you go, 180. Actually, the color doesn't matter, because we're going to make this a hole. So you can click on H, or you can press that button over there. I'm going to move this. Whoa, that was weird. Let's move this over here, and then change the dimensions when we're here. Huge smile, huge smile. Okay, so this is going to be, I'm just going to hit, zoom in here. I'm going to hit Shift and then drag this down. Okay. The height is going to be 3.1. And the width going across is going to be 7.2. 7.2. Okay, good. And then the depth, 6.2. 6.2. Now, the placement. I'm going to hit Shift. See, this is already selected, so I'm going to hit Shift and hold. Now, I've selected both of these. I'm going to hit the Align tool, which is that one. I don't want the head to move, so I want to click on the head one time. Doing that says, let's lock the head in. And of course, I deselect everything. Great, let's try it again. Align tool. Click on the head, and now this circle right there moves only the mouth. Good. It is centered, and this is how high I made it. You see how it's a little bit shaded right there? I want the mouth to be just a little bit higher than that, right there. Okay, that's how far up you should go, unless, of course, you want to change it. Up to you. Now we're going to work on the cheeks, which are just going to be spheres, so let's drop them down. Here we go. Maximize the steps. Let's move it up so that we know where we are. The height for this one, for the cheeks, is going to be closer to 3.7, so I'm going to play with that and then put 3.7. Great. Not the way it's going to look, but I just wanted you to see. Okay, I'm going to click the letter F, and that gives us a close-up, but don't want to be in this guy's face, so move him back a little bit. This is, the height's already 3.7. Now the width going across, that's going to be 6. And the depth, oops, I think I got it backwards, 6. And now the depth, 3.7, 3.7. Now I'm going to rotate this 45. Is it 45 here? It says 45. I'm going to trust it. And then I'm going to move it right there. However, I'm not sure if you noticed this, but it's too high. But it's sticking in farther here than here because it's a sphere. So I'm going to turn the side, and then I want you to see it's sticking out here more. So I'm going to rotate it. Looks like, heck, let's do it this way. 22.5. That's easier. Now, I'm going to change this to white so you can see it. Now, when you print this, it's actually not going to stick out as weird as it is here. But also, I'm going to move this in. And that's what's going to make it not stick out as much, is moving it inward. And I think a little bit there, a little bit there. Okay. Now I'm going to duplicate this. Control D, click the M for mirror. And then I'm going to hit the Shift and the arrow key. And there we go. So cute. So happy. Let's move this in farther though. Okay. Now what we want is the white of the eye. Of course, to do that, we're going to need cylinders. And here we go. Let's maximize the sides. We're not going to change the bevel or anything because we actually want this to be just a circle. Like you can definitely see it. Let's change it to white. Now for this one, we're going to rotate this 90 degrees right there. There. And now the dimensions. I'm going to hit Shift and drag this down, move it up a little bit. The dimensions for this one's going to be 3.3, my bad, 3.3. That was going to be 3.7. The width is going to be 4. And the depth, 4. Okay, looks like a little marshmallow, just like the finger. Now this one, let's see. Get a closer view here. Obviously, we're only seeing half the eye, which is not cool. So I'm going to rotate so that we can see more of the eye. Okay, that's not bad. But we don't want it there exactly. Let's go for reference. This one over here. Want it a little bit lower. Oops, I clicked on the wrong thing. Click on the eye, drop it down. There, like the eyes are and the cheeks are fighting for attention here. I'm going to duplicate this and then click the M. That should be pretty normal for you guys now. Actually, you know what? Forget it. I'm not going to do it just yet because I'd rather do it with the eye in place. So we get a sphere from the shapes library, but change that to black. And of course, we want to maximize the steps. But the eyeball itself is going to be 3.7. So 3.7. Great. I'm going to drag this up. And now, mind you, you see, like, it's pretty hard to grab this, so I need to zoom in. That way I have easier time grabbing this. And then I'm going to use the arrow key for a slight movement. There you go. Now I'm going to rotate. I'm sorry, not rotate. The sphere selected. Now I'm going to select the cylinder. I'm going to duplicate, mirror, and then Shift. All right, not bad. Still looks happy though. We don't want this guy to be happy. We want this guy to be a terror. So the next part we want is the eyebrows. Ooh, the eyebrows right there. So we're going to maximize these. And then we're going to bevel it, and then 6. Oh, I did it again. One day I'm going to figure out what button I'm pressing that does that. I'm sure some of you already know. Moving that up, changing that to white. Great. Now let's get the dimensions we want. Now for this one, we wanted 5 by 5 by 5 by 5 by 5. So I'm going to hit Shift and 5. Enter 5, 5. Oh, we're all good here. So now I'm going to rotate. It says here 53 degrees. Let's see how accurate I was in my description of my notes. Then I'm going to move it over. I've noticed some students have a hard time moving things when it's right in front of them. Sometimes you need a little bit of an angle so that you can see where you're going. All right, so I'm going to move this there. Now I think I need to rotate just a little bit so that just the bottom part is visible. So I'm going to rotate this, and according to my directions, it should be 30. Let's see if my directions are correct. 30. And then I move that in. Ooh, that one looks kind of like it should be angry, but it's not. So I'm going to move that over. It should be much lower than that for the angry. Oh, yes, that's the angry look. I've seen this angry look before, mostly with my students when I tell them that we have homework. So I'm going to duplicate this, click the letter M, go over here, and then Shift. Here's my goal. I want the edge to be touching that white part, the edge and that. There you go. Angry eyes. I like it. Oh, so one last thing. This one's going to be grouped with the marshmallows. I'm going to hit Control G, which should leave you nothing there. So I'm going to grab a sphere, maximize the sides, turn it red. This is the tongue, if you haven't realized this. I'm going to hit Shift and then change that to about 3. Enter. Drag it inside the mouth. Now, while it's in the mouth, we're going to change the dimensions in there too a little bit. But first, let's focus. I'm going to click F, and then that way we can see that better. And there it is. So the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to drag. Let's see if I can change this right here. Make that 4, and let's see. Better. But we also want to make this a little bit wider so we know it's a tongue and not some tomato stuck in his throat. All right. When I printed this, I made sure that this part right here was black, because it just looks cooler when it's a black background. Okay, so there we go. We have done the body. Now, most of you probably think, how is he going to make this thing? Actually, I found a way to make it even better, so we'll do that when we get back. And hopefully you've liked and subscribed it, and you share this video with all your friends and especially your enemies. All right, have a good one. We'll see you in the next video.